Hey, what's going on, folks? It's Larry of Packmasters Dog Training here. I'm so far behind on answering your guys' questions. Sorry about that, but I'm really behind on everything. I have a lot going on right now. I've been pretty busy, so I'm trying to catch up and be better. But I got an email today from a trainer, and basically the title in the email was "Please, please, please, I beg you." So, all right, let me open this and see what it is. Basically, in a nutshell, what this trainer says is she's doing a board and train for a dog right now, and the dog has an issue with resource guarding, growling and showing its teeth when the dog is put in a crate. The dog has had a few bites on people before, and the dog's doing pretty good in training, but can't seem to handle the issue with the crate, the growling and the showing of the teeth and everything, and she just can't break through. So basically, she says she's talked to a few other trainers, really good trainers, people she respects, but she's not having any success. And up until this point, all the advice she has been given has to do with harsh corrections. So she has corrected this dog very harshly with every tool under the sun, from a prong collar to an e-collar on the highest levels, to a bonker, to a choke chain. She's tried everything, and the behavior is not going away. So she says, what am I missing here? How could I combat this? Okay, where do we start? First of all, to be fair to any other trainer she's talked to, this is something that's very, very difficult to handle just through communicating verbally. Very hard without seeing the dog, because like I talked about before, guys, when I'm dealing with a certain behavioral issue like that, I usually don't focus on that issue. Okay, that's usually the symptom. I want to look at the overall picture. So what's the dog like in every aspect of its life? What's the dog like in dealing with you? What is the bond in the relationship? Is there any trust there? Okay, and so that's really difficult. So I can understand where people say, you know, you got to correct that behavior. You know, you can't have that. I get that, but it's not what I would do. It's not what I do. Okay, and this is just what I do. So I know people will get pissed off about this, because someone always gets mad no matter what you say. How someone can get pissed off by stating what you do blows my mind. But let's touch on a few things here. First of all, you have a couple of sides here. You have your purely positive trainers that would never correct that behavior in any way which possible. They would try to treat that behavior away, and that's not going to happen. And then you have, on the other side, you have people that are going to be real harsh and punish that behavior as much as they possibly can to make it go away. Most likely, that's not going to work either. Okay, so you kind of have to fall somewhere in the middle, in my opinion. So now, I'm not talking out of my ass here. I've been doing this longer than most, and very successfully. Okay? I think I've proven that before. So when I'm dealing with something like that, I'm not even going to address it. I'm going to ignore that in the beginning for a while, and I'm going to do as much training as I can and build as much trust as I can. There's going to be a lot of people who disagree with that. That's okay. Not a problem. Let me touch on two separate dogs here. My own dogs. Okay? So you guys see my dogs. You've seen them for many years. They're pretty impressive to most people. Let's talk about Luca. Luca's, you know, my current Malinois. He's a real impressive dog, right? Very well behaved, great house dog. There are times that if I put him in a crate, he's not in a crate very often inside the home, but if I do put him in a crate at times, there are times he will growl, okay? And I don't punish it, and here's why. The only time he growls when I'm putting him in a crate is when I'm really pissed off and worked up about something, and I have to put him in his crate for one reason or the other. Okay, he completely feeds off of me. He's not growling because he's an asshole. Okay, this whole thing with these dogs are assholes and they're just being jerks, that's such horseshit. Okay, that doesn't fly with me. He's growling because I have a very big effect on him. Okay, he feeds off of my energy very, very strongly, very strongly. I have a big effect on him. So if I'm jacked up and really pissed off about something, it scares him. When I'm coming down and he's backed into a corner, it makes him a little nervous if I'm real angry. Okay, I can correct that to all day long with the harshest corrections. It's going to make it worse. Yes, there's going to be people who make videos about what I'm saying right now, how this is bullshit. Well, you know, I'm not one of these guys that just talks. I show this stuff. I've shown plenty. It will make it worse. I ignore that. And so what I do now is if I am jacked up, I almost fake it. Okay? And I just calm myself, and he'll be fine every time. He'll never growl if I'm okay, but it makes him nervous. Now, he's a crazy Malinois, right? So everyone's always going to say, Malinois are different. Let's talk about Bruno, my old Rottweiler, as most of you know. Many considered him a perfect dog. He was the best dog I ever had, best behaved dog I ever had, but he wasn't perfect. I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect dog. So let's talk about resource guarding. From a very young age, Bruno would growl and grumble when he's eating. And if you got close to him, he would growl louder and louder, and it'd be more serious, and he would move his body so you couldn't get to the food. Now, a stranger can walk up to him when he was eating and put their hand in his food bowl, and I promise you, he would not bite you. He would grumble and growl louder and try to use his body, and he'd eat faster, okay? I did everything under my power that I know to fix this behavior, including really harsh corrections. And I can be a lot firmer and harsher than most, okay? I can. I did everything for years. So think about how frustrated I was, because I am fixing dogs from all over the country with this exact issue, and I can't stop that in my own dog. Think about how frustrated I got. So I really started analyzing everything. For one, why it started, I'm not sure. I have a theory. Bruno was one of 13 puppies. Okay, 13 puppies. They sucked their mama dry, and it was a battle to eat every day. And so he was taking off his mama pretty quick because the poor dog was sucked down to nothing. Okay, so I have a theory that it could have possibly started, you know, as a young puppy, but I don't know. So I really started analyzing and trying to think out the box here. And then several years ago, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, I was out in San Francisco working with Michael Ellis. And me and Michael were talking and just talking dogs. And I said, let me ask you something, Michael. And I told him about Bruno and the situation. I said, now you might think I'm an idiot. I said, but I'm at my wit's end, and I'm actually starting to believe that I may have to ignore that behavior. And I said, what do you think about that? Am I crazy? He said, absolutely not. He said, you're 100% right. You have to ignore it. I said, you really think so? He said, yeah, you have to ignore it, because here's the thing. You're punishing a behavior that he can't control. He can't help, you know? And I think you're just going to make it worse. And I think if you ignore it, it's going to go away. I said, I think so too. I really do. But I was thinking, am I crazy on letting this go? And so when I got back home, guess what? When I started feeding him, and he didn't do this every now and then. He did this every time he ate, whether you were there or not, okay? So I did. I started ignoring it completely. And guess what? After years of struggling through this, the behavior went away. It stopped. He no longer had that nervousness around his food. That's the only thing he did it with. His kibble in a bowl. That was it. Nothing else caused him to do that. No toys, no treats, no nothing. When he had his food bowl, and yes, I fed him without a bowl, it didn't matter. That's the only time he did it. But ignoring that behavior is the only thing. And I did every correction and punishment and every method and everything I knew beforehand. The only thing that made that go away was actually ignoring it. Okay, it made him more comfortable and calmed him down. Now, with this dog here that we're talking about in the email, she says when the dog goes in, he's hunched over and very uncomfortable. All right? Most likely that dog, and I can't guarantee because I'm not there, I don't see the whole thing, but in my opinion, what I think here, what happens to a lot of dogs, even if they're comfortable with you outside of the crate, once you put them in there, you're backing them into a corner. So even if they love the crate, they're doing well with you, doesn't cause any other problems, You're backing them into a corner, and when you're coming over them like that, that can put a lot of pressure on a dog. Okay? So now you said yourself, you have corrected this dog on the highest level possible on the e-collar. E-collar, okay? I'm a big e-collar guy. It's not what I would do. Not what I would do. So I think in this case, if I can give the best answer, I would continue to train the dog to the highest level that you possibly can. You have to build the trust. It has to be rock solid. Ignore that behavior from now on. As a matter of fact, when you put that dog in there, make it a very big non-event. I don't care if the dog's growling, showing his teeth. Put it in there, okay? Drop some kibble in. Yes, as the dog's growling. Now, people are going to say, you're an idiot. You're rewarding the dog from growling. Maybe that's what you think. But remember, I also stopped barking by teaching the dog how to bark. All right? So the point is here, guys, you have to do different shit. Everyone does the same things. And guess what? She's getting the same results from the trainers telling her all the same stuff. Ignore that behavior for now and go from there. And I can almost guarantee you that it's going to get better once that dog realizes there is nothing to fear in there. Because from the body language of the dog, what you're saying, the laying down real slow, from sitting with the back arched and hunched, that's a dog that's real nervous and scared to death. Okay? So almost always when you have a behavior like this, it comes from fear and anxiety, not because the dog's an asshole. You know, that couldn't be further from the truth. All right? And again, you guys see, I work with a lot of dogs, a lot of bad dogs. So, you know, there's people out there, we don't, in the pet industry, guys, we don't see bad dogs. The worst of the worst aren't bad compared to some of these dangerous dogs on the working side. And most people who give this advice have never been around the worst of the worst working dogs. Okay? Most people haven't seen a dog, you know, blow off 2 e-collars, 3 e-collars. Most people have never been around a dog to where the only thing that kept that dog alive and contained and almost manageable as a halfway normal dog was an e-collar receiver taped underneath the base of the tail. Imagine that. Right now there's people going, oh my God, what? Yeah, exactly. So a lot of these folks who give advice, they mean well, and they may be really great trainers. But you have to understand, every dog is different. Not everything is black and white. You know, if a dog jumps up on you, yeah, correct it quick, correct it harsh, end it quickly. But these types of behaviors, like I said before, are mindset behaviors, not behaviors that the dog can control. And so that's probably the best advice I can give you. You know, like I said, that stuff's usually really easy to deal with. But the more you correct it and punish it, in this example, in my opinion, you're giving that dog reason to believe he has to be an asshole. That's just my take. People are way too quick with the punishment and corrections, okay? If a lot of trainers out there spent a fraction of the time talking about how to train instead of how to punish, I think things would go a lot better. But again, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail over this. There will be other trainers that make videos about what I said. They probably won't say my name, but you'll know they're talking about me. But I don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit. I've seen too many dogs screwed up by harsh corrections with prong collars and e-collars, and just, that's what people do when they don't know what else to do. That's what they resort to. All right? But most people are never going to tell you, I don't know what to do. Sometimes you have to try several different things before you find out what works. All right, folks? I hope that answers your question. Give it a shot. Focus on the training. Build the trust. Ignore that behavior for now. We can address that on the back end. All right? Peace.